Hi, and welcome to another new video here on Ryan Talks Tech. So in today's video we've got another speaker review, and today we're taking a look at this. Now this is quite heavy. It's the JBL Authentics 300. Now if you've not already, I have done a review on the 500 model, which is the bigger brother to this, so do check that review out after this one. But for this one, let's get into it. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is show you around the speaker and take a look at what we've actually got. So here it is, the JBL Authentics 300. Now, hopefully, as you can see there, the front looks very nice. It's got the little squares on the speaker cover grille that gives it a retro kind of look. You've got a gold surround to the speaker grille, and in the bottom corner, you've got the JBL logo also in gold. On the top of the speaker, you've got a volume dial, and this is also a button, so you can press it for play and pause, and next track and previous track, things like that. In the middle, you've got a Bluetooth button, a power button, and a love heart button. I'll explain them in a little bit. You've also got a treble dial and a bass dial. Now back to these buttons. The Bluetooth button is obviously to connect a Bluetooth device. Now, the power button, this is the only JBL Authentics model that gets a power button. The 200 and the 500 don't. And the reason is because this is the only one that's got a battery. So the other two don't need a power button because you plug them into the mains all the time. And if you want to turn them off, you just turn them off at the mains. Then this love heart button is what JBL calls the moment button. And this means that you can set it up so when you press this love heart, it will play a particular playlist or a particular song. So maybe you could have it so that you press this and your favourite playlist comes on, for example. Now let's take a look at the back of the speaker. So here's the back of the unit. At the very top, you've got a microphone mute switch because this has voice assistants built in, such as Amazon and Google Assistant. So using that switch there, you are able to mute the microphones if privacy is a concern, and you can unmute them once again. Then engraved into the back of the speaker, you've got the Authentics 300 text, just in case you forget what model you've got. You've also got an Ethernet port if you'd prefer to use wired internet, because these are Wi-Fi speakers. As I said, this one does have a battery. So if you're using it outside of your house, you can just use it on Bluetooth, or you could use this auxiliary input here to plug in a wired device. But if you're using it at home, the best way to use it would either be on Wi-Fi or using this wired internet port. You've also got a USB-C port, but as far as I'm aware, this is not any use to the consumer. This is only if you have problems with the speaker and it needs to be sent back to JBL to get serviced. As far as I'm aware, that is all the USB-C port is for. It doesn't do anything else. And then you've of course got a power connection, because with this being the battery model, you either need to charge it, or you can do what I do and leave it running on mains all of the time. So I leave mine running on mains all of the time, and the only time I ever take it off is on the odd summer day where it might be nice weather in the garden, and I'll take it out to the garden with me. Now yes, I did mention taking this speaker out into the garden with me, and that is genuinely the only place I would take this. I wouldn't be taking this to the beach or the park or anything like that. It weighs, I think it's around 5 kilograms, so it is a pretty hefty unit. So it's not something you're going to want to carry for a long time. Maybe if you were going for a long weekend at a caravan or something, then sure, this would be perfect to take. But it wouldn't be the kind of thing I was taking to a beach, maybe just for a holiday in a caravan or something like that. Now let's take a look at build quality of the unit. So on the front here, you've got a grille. This is plastic. It's got some kind of fabric coating on it, but if you feel, it's definitely plastic behind it. Then you've got your gold surround. This could be plastic or metal. I'm guessing it's plastic only because it's not cold to the touch, but it does look like metal. so I'm not 100% sure though. On the top and around the sides, you've got this kind of what looks like leather. I don't think it is leather, I think it's more of a vinyl they've put over the plastic to make it look a bit nicer. But it does look like leather, and it does look and feel really premium. Then you've got a handle. This is the only model with a handle also, because this is the only model with a battery. You've got a handle which is made out of metal, I'm pretty sure. And then for the majority of it, you've got this like kind of nice leather coating. Now, whether this is genuine leather or not, I'm not entirely sure. Around the back of the unit, it's plastic. And on the underneath of the unit, you've got the same leather look. You've got plastic feet, and you've also got a big, what looks like a subwoofer, but this isn't a subwoofer, it's actually a passive radiator. Now, if you don't know the difference, let me quickly explain. So inside of every speaker is an amplifier, and that is what drives the speakers. Now, you may have heard of passive speakers. They don't have an amplifier inside of them, so you need to get your own to power them, basically. But inside of speakers like these are what is known as active speakers, so they have amplifiers inside of them. Now, amplifiers is what drives the speaker, and if you had a subwoofer, that would be connected to the amplifier. However, with this being a passive radiator, it doesn't connect to the amplifier. Instead, what it does is it uses the air created by the movement of the other speakers to vibrate and add more to the bass. But it's not as strong as the dedicated subwoofer that you get on the 500 model, because it's not getting power. It's just using the air created by the other speakers. So if bass is a real concern, then the 500 model probably would be better. However, that is not to say this is lacking in bass at all. This has plenty of bass, more than the average user would probably ever need. And that is why, with JBL, they've give you these bass and treble dials so you can adjust it to your preference. But if you want a lot of bass, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot, then the 500 model would be better. But the 300 is probably going to have more than enough bass for you. So we covered getting my words mumbled up there. We've covered doing it again. We've covered build quality. I've shown you around the speaker. The only thing we've not looked at is how the speaker actually functions, and we've not done a sound test. So we're going to turn it on now, and we'll have a look at how it functions. Okay, so I'm going to turn the speaker on now, and then I'm going to go to the JBL app, and I'll show you a bit more about that. So press power on, wait a few seconds, and we'll get that iconic JBL startup sound. There we go. So now the speaker's powered on, and now we're going to head over to the JBL app. So here we are on my mobile phone, and I just want to show you the JBL One app. So we'll just open that up now. Just go back to the home screen a moment. So there we go. So you can see the two speakers I've got, and I've got the living room speaker, which is the JBL Authentics 500. There it is. And I've also got the one we're doing a review on right now, which is Ryan's room speaker, and this is the JBL Authentics 300. Now, when you open it up, you can see that we can see what's playing. As you can see at the moment, no music is playing. We can adjust the volume, play pause, next track, previous track. We've got in-app music, and we get quite a few options in here. Tidal, Amazon Music, Calm Radio, Napster, Qobuz, I think that's called. I don't really know how to say that, but I think it's Qobuz or maybe Qobuz. You've got TuneIn and iHeartRadio. Now, it calls these supported music services, which is a bit misleading because it does support Spotify and other things like that. For example, you can use Apple Music and AirPlay to the speaker. So it does support quite a few. These aren't the only ones, but these are the only ones that you can use direct from the JBL app. Now, I wouldn't recommend using them through the JBL app because I've got Amazon Music here. I'm not signed in at the moment, but if I just quickly sign in, you can see here this is how it looks in the app. Now, obviously, this is nowhere near as nice as it looks in the Amazon Music app, but it's still one way that you can use it. Accidentally played the music there. Yeah, it's still one way that you can use it, but I would always use the app, the actual app, rather than using it through the JBL app, because it's just not as nice in the JBL app. That's not to say the JBL app is bad. It does everything it needs to. It's just the user interface of the music streaming services just isn't as nice as it is in the actual app. Then you've got equalizer. You've got a couple of presets here, but you can also set your custom, as I have done. Now, if you want to try my settings, feel free to pause the video here and you can try them settings. That's how I like it, but it might not be how you like it, because sound is subjective and it depends on the way you perceive sound. But for me, that sounds good. You've then got moment. Now, this is the love heart button I spoke about. You've got a couple of things you can set it to do here, but you've also got your playlist, so you can set it so when you press that button on the speaker, it will play a particular playlist. It's not a feature I use, but it's definitely something you could set up if you want to. Then you've also got your product settings. You can rename the speaker. You can enable auto Bluetooth reconnection. You can enable or disable the feedback tone. You can turn on battery saving mode, and you can also set an auto power off. So when the speaker is running on battery and it's not connected to mains electricity, you can set it so if it's not doing something for however long, it will automatically turn it off to save the battery. And for that, you've got 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, or never. I've currently got it set on 1 hour, but to be fair, I would recommend something like 15 minutes. So I'm going to change mine to that now. You can also see the Wi-Fi network you're connected to and your Wi-Fi strength. You've also got your voice assistants, which is Google Assistant and Amazon. I've accidentally just set mine off though, you can probably hear.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
There you go. Accidentally set it off though. You've also got Wi-Fi streaming, Spotify Connect, Tidal Connect, AirPlay, and Rune Ready. Now, I've not used Rune, so I'm not really sure how that works, but I probably will give the free trial a quick go, and you can test that at your own leisure if it's something you're interested in. You can also restore the factory settings if you want to. You've got product information, shows your model, serial number, MAC address, product software, product support, quick start guide. You've also got create a system, and this is to create a stereo pair. Now, it's not something I don't think I'll be able to do, because I've only got a JBL Authentics 300 and 500. If I had two of the same model, I probably would be able to. But since I don't, I'm not able to create a stereo pair. You do also get Amazon Multiroom Music, which, as I've said already, it's a great feature. And yeah, I highly recommend you check that out if you want Multiroom Music. You can also explore more, learn about voice assistants, get ready for Wi-Fi streaming, and create Multiroom with AirPlay. So yeah, that's about it for the JBL app. Now, to Multiroom Music, I want to mention that because I think it's really important. It's something that JBL have put in these speakers, and I think it's a really, really good idea of them. So what Multiroom Music is it basically means that you can use this as a multi-room speaker, and I'm sure you're probably not going to know what multi-room audio is, but just in case you don't, what multi-room audio is it means you can have speakers all over the home, and you can have the same music throughout the entire home, or you can have different music in each room. So what Alexa Multiroom Music is it basically means that this JBL speaker can connect to other JBL speakers throughout the home, but it can also work with non-JBL speakers, such as a standard Amazon from Amazon. And it can also work with other products that have multi-room music built in. Now, that's something that Bose don't do. Bose do have a few speakers that have got built in, but they don't include multi-room which means if you want the same music throughout the entire home and you have one of the Bose speakers, you've got to buy more Bose speakers to be able to do that. It won't work with any speaker. Well, JBL will, as long as it's got Multiroom built in. Now, I think that's very generous of JBL, and it's nice that they give us that option when so many other manufacturers don't these days. Now, I'm not just singling Bose out there, there's plenty that don't include that feature, but Bose is one of the others that I have recently used, and I know they don't include it, so I just want to make that observation there. And we're now going to do a quick sound test, but as I say in all my YouTube videos where I do sound tests, please do not take the YouTube video as proof of the sound. You're not going to get a full representation of the sound through any YouTube video, and especially not mine, because I'm quite a small YouTuber at the moment, so I don't really have the fancy equipment that some may have, but I'll do the best I can with what I've got. So yeah, it won't give you a full representation of the sound, but it should give you some sort of idea. And I do recommend you use headphones to get the best possible experience. And if you are buying one of these, it's probably a good idea to buy it and decide whether you like it within a few days. So if you don't, you can return it, because I know here in the UK, we do get a few days to change our mind. But that depends obviously on where you buy it from. Some shops won't accept it back if you've opened it. I know Amazon aren't that fussy, so if you're looking to buy one, I'd recommend buying it on Amazon, and I've put a link in the description for doing that as well. Okay, so now let's do the sound test. As I say, remember you won't get the full representation of the sound quality through this, but it should give you some sort of idea, and for the best experience, please use headphones. Here we go.
And that is, everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you.
All that I can say, do it to me. All that I can say, do it to me. All that I can say, do it to me. All that I can say, do it to me.
Now, there we go then. There is a quick sound test for you on the JBL Authentics 300. Now, what is my overall thoughts on this speaker? Should you go right ahead and buy it, or should you maybe think about it and look at some other options? Well, in my opinion, this is probably one of the very best speakers you can buy for in the home. Obviously, aside from the things like Bang & Olufsen and things like that, but when you start talking about Bang & Olufsen, you're getting very expensive. But if you're looking for a decent in-home speaker, then the JBL Authentics 300 is a really solid option. Now, I wouldn't recommend it in a particularly big room. For example, my living room here is quite big, so I think maybe this would be okay. I have used it in my living room, but it wouldn't be my go-to option because sometimes I might want music a bit louder. For example, if I'm having a house party or something like that, then that is why I've got the JBL Authentics 500 in my living room. But for a room like this, my bedroom, the JBL Authentics 300 is absolutely perfect. And I don't just use my bedroom as my bedroom, it's also kind of a bit of a studio for me where I work on my computer and do radio things, because if you don't know, I am a radio presenter and I do own my own radio station, so I use my bedroom quite a lot, and when I'm doing things on my computer, I quite like to have this speaker on, and I've really enjoyed using it over these past couple of weeks since I bought it. Now, like I say, if you're going to be having regular house parties and things like that, maybe you want something like the JBL Authentics 500. But if you're just a casual listener, you don't need it super loud, but you still want it a decent volume, then the JBL Authentics 300 is perfect. It gets loud enough, it sounds very good, and it's got nice bass, nice treble, and it sounds very clear. So yes, I would recommend it for the average person as a home speaker. And obviously you've got the rest of the lineup, the JBL 200, Authentics 200, which I've not taken a look at yet. But from my understanding, it's very similar to the 300, it just doesn't feature a battery. There's a few other differences, but I'm not too sure on them, so don't take my word on that. I've not actually taken a look at the 200 yet, and whether I will be doing or not yet, I don't know, because I don't know if I'm actually going to purchase a 200, because I can't really think of a place in my house where I would benefit from having the 200. But I do have the 500 and I do have the 300. The 500 I've already done a full review on, you can go and watch that. And I've now done a review on the 300 as well, and like I say, I do recommend it. So that's going to be about it for this video. Don't forget, if you do want to purchase this speaker, please use the Amazon link in the description below. That helps to support the channel. And please like the video and subscribe to the channel and turn them notifications on so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.